Well, good day, folks. This is Eric Rollins, the Constitutionalist, here on 1550 KXEX, the best talk in town. I think I should have a lively discussion. I am connected here, and we'll have a discussion of somebody that I've never heard anybody tell as many stories and connect their family.
True stories.
True stories. I've got somebody that, she's kind of the Wonder Woman of Central Valley.
Oh.
She's running around, constantly working, moving us in a more freedom-based direction. I wouldn't say always Republican direction, because I don't think Republicans are somewhat flawed. I would say freedom-based and conservative. Welcome, Maggie Cannaba.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here with you. You know, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I think we had talked about it almost a couple of years ago.
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
I think we were both in different places.
It's okay. It long as you got here.
Yeah, I think I appreciate that. I think freedom-based is a direction is a good description. I think because and Republican principles, of course, we have format. You know, sometimes a political party is nobody really owns it. The political party are your principles, what defines those principles. They have leadership that come and go. I've seen them. I've been in this for so long. And so we really have to remember that we keep our eye on the prize, keep our eye on what the Republican principles represent, and try to do the best that we can. And above all, being communicating with all people of all parties. Just the fact that we can disagree, even if you're with the other party, you have to respect their freedom to make a choice to choose their politics. And the fact that we can disagree says a lot about our country. When we disagree, even in out loud, we're in a country where we're not going to be imprisoned for having disagreements. That in itself is a celebration.
That is kind of a rarity. Around the world, it tends to be, whether it's communism, a dictatorship, whatever authoritarians seem to have ruled the world for, and that still rule most countries. And we can have a huge diversity of opinion, which I think is more important. And then we've got this melting pot, at least I hope it's a melting pot, of all of these amazing cultures, and we all largely get along.
I love that expression, the melting pot. I just think there are things that cross the line, that threaten our principles and the foundation of why this country even exists. And when that happens, you have to have the courage to say it out loud, and you have to have the courage to act on it. And
it's absolutely a call to action.
Yeah, for sure.
So we were talking beforehand. How'd you get started? Kind of, you had an interesting way to jump into politics. It wasn't really quite politics. You were still in school when all of a sudden you were active.
Politics as a structured organizational kind of thing. Politics is, I guess, the moment you're born. I mean, really, politics is your lifestyle. It is knowing that there has to be law and order even within family. And having the parents and the leaders, which are your parents, to guide you. And then you start getting into the more formal organizational kind of thing. For me, it was in 7th grade. I ran for student council, and I had my little campaign manager. His name was Stephen Terry, and I think he had a crush on me, so he volunteered to be my campaign manager. And we had made big signs and did what 7th graders do, I guess. And then from there, I was in high school. I was involved in student government also. That was fun. And even that, I found out what the politics is within the school board when you want to start a new high school club, and which we did. And you have to go get it approved. There's a lot of red tape, and right now it seems simple, but for a junior and senior high school person, and getting to know that part of how the education system works, that was very interesting and good education.
I would absolutely say that kind of set the groundwork.
Yeah.
It allowed you to kind of learn how to because politics, it's how we decide the rules of the day. Kind
Yeah.
of the laws and the rules happen because of politics.
For me, I want to be very clear that politics is like a twofold thing. It's the action, the execution, and the steps that you have to go forward depending on the circumstances, things that you have to do things right and correctly and by the book. And then there's the politics of the soul, which is something my parents taught me to do the right thing and to be fair. That's a kind of a softer politics, if you may. I don't know if that's a good expression to do, but to say. But my parents taught us very well and to be fair. And the most important lesson that they taught us was life is not fair. Life is not fair. You try to do the best you can to, if it's within your control. But I think failing at a goal is not a moral fail. It is a challenge, it's a test to get up and get going again. So
adversity makes us. Often.
I think-
Occasionally it breaks somebody, but I think it also gives you the opportunity. It's like competition. Not all competition's good, but most of it makes us stronger and better.
Well, yeah, it certainly identifies your character because there's a saying that my mother used to tell me, and I'll translate it, but I'm going to say it in Spanish first. She would say, mija, pase lo que pase, usted nunca, nunca, jamás se me vaya a cobardar de la vida. Usted siga adelante. Which translates into, mija, being my daughter, no matter come what may, don't you ever coward out on life. Don't you ever coward out on life, and you have to go forward because there is no backwards. You go forward. Backwards doesn't exist. If you have to reinvent yourself, if you have to try another way, or maybe you're not just saying you're not. It's like in a set with a sales presentation. A no is really a yes because you just haven't said the right words to your client.
Well, if you have a can-do attitude, yes. I would have loved to have met your mom.
Oh boy! Yesterday was her birthday, and she was born in El Paso, Texas, and my dad was born in the wonderful northern state of Chihuahua. Chihuahua, a true person from Chihuahua pronounces it with an SH, not a CH. And he was a cowboy from day one. I think he learned to ride a horse before even walking, and my dad's mother was 100% Tarahumara, which is the Indian tribe indigenous tribe from Chihuahua. So I'm proud of that lineage. They sustain a lot. They have a large capacity to sustain challenges, and hopefully I draw from that. And of course, my mother's family also was from Tejas, Texas, and that's where a little bit of my accent comes from.
So you were born here?
No.
No.
I was born in the land of enchantment, New Mexico.
Okay, but you were born as a U.S. citizen. So
Absolutely.
You're for your family the first generation.
Yeah. Yes.
They were born elsewhere, but then became citizens.
My brothers, there's 10 of us, and all my brothers and sisters, except the youngest ones, my little sister, myself, were born in the United States of America. And we lived in a small community called Columbus, which is 3 miles north of the Mexican border. I was born in Deming, 32 miles north, but I went to school in Columbus, which was the first time the United States has ever been penetrated by a hostile force, which was Pancho Villa. And so we had all that history around. We played in the Pancho Villa Park. The old hotel had not even been fixed yet, the one he burned down. So we used to play in the old hotels. The old train station was the library. And that was a great, great upbringing. We lived in a ranch where our nearest neighbor was 5 miles away. And on holidays, we ate store-bought food. And so, like, we actually bought milk during Christmas, and that was great because that was different.
Yeah.
Because we had everything we had in the ranch. Dad used to say, you don't have everything you want, but you have everything you need. And we did have everything we ever wanted, actually.
That kind of hard work and having parents that came from another country tends to give you a different appreciation. I've interviewed quite a number of people that they either were born in another country or their parents were born in another country and they're U.S. citizens, and they bring a different perspective. They are more thankful
Well, my mother,
for the opportunities.
yeah, my mother was in love with being a patriot. She was such a huge patriot, and because she was born here, she never let my dad forget it either. My dad lived here almost all his life, and so, but he never became a citizen, and it was a spiritual thing for him, and I respect that, because he used to say, quiero morir como ciudadano de la tierra que me vio nacer, which means I want to die a citizen of the land that saw me being born. And of course, he was a legal resident and everything was good, but he made no bones about it. And he was adamant, he was extreme in letting us know that was your father's house. That was my destiny to be born in Mexico. Your father's house comes second now. This is your home. You're going to live and die for your home. And he says, you're American. You're not Mexican American. Take that hyphen out. You're American. You have complete ownership of what that, and along with the ownership comes responsibility. So you have to be a servant and sweep your little side of the street if you're going to live here, because that's very important. My mother also was every day, because I started school not knowing a lick of English. And so every day she'd tell me, remember me, huh? You're an American citizen. You're an American. You're just as good as anybody else. And I believed everything they said, so I thought I was all that, right? And in the school I went to, we were not allowed to speak Spanish. If we did, we were reprimanded. I don't want to say punished. Punish is too strong. We would stand. They would make us stand up until our legs hurt, or we wouldn't get our afternoon snack. And
to a kid, the snack's serious business.
Well, I'm telling you, children have a lot of resilience. Those teachers loved us. They wanted us to be successful. In 3 months, I was number one in my reading circle, because my Mrs. Gibson, my first grade teacher, said, "You are smart. You are going to be able to learn, but you cannot have that crutch."
So rather than having a bilingual class, it was total immersion and basically trial by fire.
Well,
But you also had teachers that supported you. But my point is, it worked. Now we have this in between thing. I do believe that knowing a second language is truly valuable, but you have to understand and be able to communicate in this language to fully become an American citizen.
Right. And I spoke nothing but Spanish at home.
Well, then you had it down.
Yeah, and because I was one of the youngest, there was no preschool or kindergarten. I just went straight to first grade. But so I was already 6 years old when I started school, and my older brothers and sisters would come home and I'd say, "Oh, háblame inglés." I wanted to learn how to. I used to say, I would know how to say please and thank you, but that's my core.
So with that core, you took that core and you've been involved in politics. So one of my big questions is, you've specialized in helping and reaching out to the Hispanic community. Do we want to use? I know we don't want to use Latinx. Is Hispanic okay? Because I would get it's a diverse group. It is bigger than just that in a lot of ways.
I'm going to reveal a little bit of my heart. I wish that Hispanic didn't exist. It is good for bundling, and it's good for the economics, especially when you're selling. Numbers sell big. I think when the last of the 80s, the word Hispanic kind of just became trendy, and it was a very great marketing tool. And but we're really Americans. We're all Americans, and but it's important to identify your beginnings. I'm very, very proud of saying that my roots are from Mexico. And that I enjoy every bit of the culture. In fact, sometimes I listen to more Spanish music than I do English radio, and only because I connect to it. But I want to be very clear, my loyalty and my citizenship is American. And that we were talking earlier about, I'm going to try not to get emotional, but being involved in politics, when you reach that level where you're really navigating through the politics of politics, you have to be strong. They call it a blood sport, and boy, let me tell you, that is true. And you have to be so on target with your why. Now, I don't want to minimize that word why, because why is the thing that propels you. The why is the word and what it means to you, why you're even doing this. Every candidate that I know taught me that I help with the campaigns. Everyone, I'm sure even yourself.
I've helped with quite a few campaigns at this
But
point,
there's
but
a
only
reason
in the
why-
last 3 years.
Yeah, there's a motor.
Or now
There's
4.
something propels you to do what you do. I know you've done amazing work, and I'm so proud to be associated with your work and have you. And we work together in some groups, and there's some really strong things coming. We've already planted, and I think we're going to be harvesting in the next 2 or 3 years everything that we've invested in the last 2, 3, 4 years, and that's going to be exciting.
One of my issues is the Republican Party has not done a great job of outreach.
Well,
But you're one of the people that's trying to make a difference with that. So I'm torn on this. I'm like, I do see, especially pre me being involved in local, so more than 4 years ago, pre-COVID, that there were almost no African Americans, however you want to define the group. If you're not white like me, Irish, English, German, Republicans didn't do a great job up till fairly recently reaching out and connecting to those people. Because the first thing is reaching out and just establishing, whether it's a friendship, some common bond, some connection, because you can't have a conversation without that. You do a phenomenal job of making that connection.
I have an answer for you, and you and I have a great relationship because you don't melt when I disagree, and I don't melt either because we're Republicans. And we're very honest, and that's the only way I know how to go is shoot from the hip. I think the Republicans have been doing a great job because they've been here a long time. They're a big dog. They've had their challenges, and I think the demographics in this country have changed. So they didn't have to do so much of that outreach. And when the demographics changed, they didn't have the complete understanding. They had the desire, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they want all people to
because
succeed.
I've been with the Fresno GOP for over 20 years. And I can tell you, for 7 years, I was voter registration chair. And I was at events 3 days out of the week, if not more. 3 days a week would be a little, to say the least. And but we came with everything because I was following the GOP guidelines, and we had wonderful leaders, and I knew something I was not there at the fullest. I wasn't using the full tank of gas, and but there's a truth in life that says you don't know what you don't know until you do it. And during that process, I think it was a great experience for me, a learning experience for me. And I learned that that there's something that has to be changed. And we can talk about that a little bit later.
We're going to go ahead and go to break.
Yay! I get to.
This is Eric Rollins, the Constitutionalist, here on 1550 KXEX, the best talk in town. As always, I like to take this first break to take the opportunity to thank everybody. Please like, please subscribe, please share, please comment. There's really only one person that I've never responded to the comments. They listen, they seem to be kind of a stalker, and there's nothing useful. There's not like a conversation or a real point, so I don't bother with that particular person. Everybody else,
Well, we learn from everything. Embrace that too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's we're in a free country. What a concept! That's
Yep.
amazing.
well, they have the right to say it, but I don't have to listen.
No, exactly.
All right, let's go ahead and come back. This is Eric Rollins, the Constitutionalist, here on 1550 KXEX, the best talk in town. I am joined by Maggie Cannaba. We going with Supergirl or Wonder Woman? I think Wonder Woman is kind of more your style.
Let's go with absolutely fortunate and blessed, because it's never a person. It's always a team. I got to tell you, if there wasn't, I'm always attached to a group. I used to do a lot of research and out there in the community. I don't think there's a door I haven't knocked in the Central California Valley, but I decided that when you associate yourself with different people and become a team, that's when things really get done.
If you can get along, you're stronger.
I'm sorry.
If as long as you get along, you're stronger as a team.
Well, gotta learn, good or bad. I'm gonna learn. I made that decision to have that energy. I don't want anything to cloud that energy, and it's not easy. Believe me, it is. It's very tempting to park my emotions and my activities and focus on things that don't relate and take my eye away from the prize. My prize is to get to make strides and hopefully in my lifetime make California red county by county.
Right. It has to. It's probably not going to happen at the state level. It's got to be one piece at a time. Changing local.
Oh, it's
changes
always a
everything.
piece at a time. It's always a piece at a time. And it's just like I could go into my philosophy with big government. It's good to know what Washington's doing. Everybody talks about Trump. But we are a top-to-bottom government. We, the people, rule and send people up there. They're not the few on the top are not to dictate to the bottom.
They're trying. That's why we need to do things like more than just vote.
Mm-hmm. And take responsibility. I mean, it starts from your core. It starts from pointing the finger to yourself. They can because we let them, we allow them. Mm-hmm. Every day is not to sound petty, or to minimize it, but every day is a big decision, even to get up and how you say, oh my gosh, I have to listen to the news. And you're bombarded. So that's where your why comes in. The why sustains you. We talked a little bit before about the why. And I'll tell you what, my why is my family. And we said we would be talking. My family is everything to me. I never had children. So where there's 10 of us, I have 6 sisters and 4 brothers. Well, there's 6 girls and 4 brothers. And
so do you even know how many nieces and nephews you have? There's got to be a bunch.
I don't know what it is, and I'll be very brief because I know we want to talk about other things, but I just want to tell you that family is the most efficient, most powerful weapon that we can have in our social structure, in our society, more powerful than any army, I think, because that's the base of our existence. And our country sets our moral standards. It makes people do good, and it just all connects. And so I talk with my hands. I'm not supposed to hit the table. You warned me. And so and that's family is very, very important to me, and that's my big why. And specifically, even go a little deeper than that. My brother was a jungle fighter in Nam. My other one was a brother, Antonio, was a helicopter chief, a rescuer, and with a helicopter for the wounded. And then he even rescued the holy cow from the people that wanted, they wouldn't leave their cow behind, from some Vietnamese people. So they did their part. I also had my brother's girl that was in the Baghdad airport for 2 years, and then taken to Afghanistan.
Wow. So
we have a service heart in our family. We have, I don't even know how many border patrol in our family, and then local police officers. I had a niece to just, my other brother's girl just retired from the Tulare PD as a lieutenant, not a lieutenant. I think she was a lieutenant, first female lieutenant.
Thank you for all their services.
Well, this is why I say if they can do that, you and I should be able to help this country and do our part standing on our heads. Mm-hmm. That's just an expression. I can't stand on my head. I
can stand on my head. I can do either version of headstand.
I can if someone holds my legs.
So, with the why and your connection to family, then how do you turn that into action? Because we need to find people, motivate people, get them to realize how blessed they are, and move them to action.
Remember, the politics, as some people think about it, is the execution, the action, joining the groups, joining the party. That's it. But the politics is your culture. It's the way your thought, the way you want your principles. That's where it has to start, because that's going to um, make the path of what
So
execution you can do. So how do I the question is, how do I connect both?
yeah, how do you get people to move to action? How do you connect that foundation of family
Well, I know
and the why
and the why.
to action? How do you get people to use that message
Well,
to
first
connect
the
them?
family and the why motivate me, which it gets to me, and then I involve myself with the practical um, and the realistic protocols of doing the politic work. I had to choose a party, and because I am pro-life, I had no choice.
Hmm.
Republican was the way to go. I know there might be other parties that walk that same line, but if you know that there's a fight to be done, you're going to bring one of the big dogs.
Hmm.
I'm not bringing a poodle. Okay, so I made a choice, and that's my reality. I associated myself, and I became a Republican, and that's a responsibility. If you decide to become a Republican, you're in that organization. You have to respect its rules. That's the umbrella you chose, and there's things that we can complain about and so forth, but that's the rules that they have, and we have to do it. And if they're not doing the job according to their bylaws, they have bylaws.
Hmm.
It's not a public club.
Bylaws and a party platform.
Yeah, bylaws and public platform. Which the two main things in the bylaws are that you have to help elect Republican candidates.
Hmm.
And of course, the other, which is everything, is voter registration.
I'm on my Republican Central Committee's voter registration committee.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was the GOP for 7 years, being the chair for that, and it's all about exposure. And remember, sometimes things happen at different sequences in life, because maybe when you're approaching this and you're in the pioneer stage of changing and transitioning over to a different demographic and the frequency and even the way the lifestyles are now, sometimes it's easier now because that exposure, other people have helped you transition into that. So when to say that the GOP did have its challenges, but
It still does.
it does, but we're going to leave that one alone. That's
But it always will, is the thing. Any large group of people will have its challenges. It's, can you stay focused on the mission and get the things done?
I think in such a huge organization as the RNC, as on a national level, and of course the California Republican Party, they always will be. That's going to be eternal. That's always going to happen. But really, the only person that you're responsible for and leave your own footprint is you. And with the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, which I was.
So that's a group.
The Republican National Hispanic Assembly is the reason why I stepped and took a little bit of a vacation from the Fresno County GOP. I was asked to be the regional director, which encompassed a territory of Kern County all the way to Yuba City to the Nevada border. And I'm a team builder. That's my job. That's a lot.
That's 6 hours driving without bad traffic. That's with good traffic.
Hey, you put the right music on, you're good, okay? And there's a lot of things. A lot of my work has been done, and I drive quite a bit, but I did that for 4 years, and Fresno was my first chapter. I'm happy to say we have a Bakersfield chapter. We have an ambassador in Tulare County, Madera County, Merced County. I'm working on San Joaquin County, which Stockton is the county seat to San Joaquin County. Then we have Stanislaus, which is the Merced area. And we have Tuolumne County. We have an ambassador in Tuolumne County. Praise Jesus. And so it takes a lot, and it's never a one phone call effort. It takes a lot. and it really, you have to make, again, comes the why. Why are you doing this? Man, you could make, I have a college degree, and I could be maybe in a better, I'm self-employed because I need that freedom. And when you're self-employed, there are challenges, but you have the freedom. And that's a decision like everything else you make in life. So sometimes you take the gig where you know you have to work. In Bakersfield, I'm just moving back to up north. I was in Bakersfield for a while, and there were absolutely opportunities for me, and I was account manager for a large radio station, I won't say, and I loved it, and it married with my communication skills, and we got the job done in Bakersfield. In fact, we had our first state executive meeting in a little country ranch in Bakersfield, so that was a lot of fun. So
So you're taking and starting groups and trying to move those people to action, because the whole idea of the group.
yeah, it's more than a group. It is part of the Republican Foundation, part of the, we're not a group, we're not a coalition, we're not a club. We are part of the Republican organization. We are the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, the largest Hispanic political organization in the United States of America. That's Hispanic. We have an office in Washington, D.C., and we have our national chair is in Houston also, and our state chair, which she's amazing, Karina Powers, in Monterey County.
I met her.
Oh, she's the greatest. And so I have other projects that I wanted to do. I invested quite a bit, and I did. Ta-da! I'll make the formal presentation or announcement now. I did resign as the regional director, and I also had become sitting on the state executive board as secretary, and did that. I enjoyed it, and it's absolutely good. Again, paths open up, and there's efforts that you have to do a lot of soul searching and praying about, and saying, well, maybe this is something else I have to do at this moment right now. But I do encourage for people, I invite people to get involved with RNHA, Republican National Hispanic Assembly, and because our goal is to be exclusive on the Hispanic voter base, but we're inclusive on everyone. We work with all your groups. We work with the CRA. We work with the Rifle Association.
Well, the local Fresno. I don't know the organization beyond local, but local you invite everybody, whether they're a member or not, whether they're in any way Hispanic or not. It is a very welcoming organization here in Fresno County. I'm always happy to go to meetings. I'm just super busy, and I know if I join, you're going to want me to do more, and I can't do more.
No, I can't be everywhere. Honestly, and there's so many other great groups and great souls, and you know that. I mean, we went on a group of us went to dinner, and it was such a unexpected bonding and understanding, because we had a common goal, a common belief. And but no, I mean, we are proud to work with our groups. Of course, there's no doubt we are sovereign. We are not the GOP. We are not the CRA. We're not the Rifle Association. But we know, we have a clear understanding. We better hold hands, and we better get united, and we better go forward with respect. With respect. And I love our chair is Eulalio Gomez. He's a retired sheriff.
Good guy.
Oh, geez. Yeah, great respect. And so, believe me, there will never be disrespect in our meetings. You can count on that.
So you often have a speaker. So it's about education and bonding. Once you realize you're not alone, it's a lot easier to act. If you have somebody there that's willing to stand with you on some project, whether that's walking for a candidate or making phone calls or just talking to people or a voter registration, there's a myriad of ways for people to get involved. Join a group, even if it's the wrong group. Join a group, because it'll open a door and make you realize you're not alone, that we have a civic responsibility to be involved.
And you never know if it's wrong if you don't try it. That's fine. You don't know until you do it. You know, that is just doing it, is getting involved. If you have questions, sometimes we feel all these emotions, and we know we love our country. Just everyone, I think, for the most part, are proud to be Americans.
For the most part.
For the most part, but we need to measure and keep our eye on the prize, and know that parties were there to help us, but we are Americans. I love that concept of the melting pot. I think we should really focus on that instead of the hate, because we should celebrate that we don't think alike and that we can actually do it out loud. However, there are lines that should not be crossed, and that's, I think, you have to take a stand.
Well, there's your principles.
Yes, yes. And but as far as RNH is concerned, I am very proud to be a member. I'm just with not much authority. I'm just a member. I'm a member of the part of the membership for Fresno County, and I bring all that I've learned through my being regional director for so many years, and it's a good thing. My decision was a good thing. I feel really good. There are very aggressive goals and paths, and I think you know my personality. I just don't do things 100%, and
Or less than 100%.
or less than, yeah, or not even, 110. And so there are things that I believe that I would be to my advantage to act on and get involved more in the valley. You'll definitely going to see me. I think I may be a little more visible. I've been working Merced area quite a bit, especially for Joanna.
So Joanna Rose Garcia, Assembly District, is that 31?
27. I think it's AB 27. Is that correct, Mr. Producer?
27. Okay.
I hate being right all the time.
Yeah, it happens too often.
I'm so modest. No, it is Assembly District 27. Believe me, it's I
good
worked
candidate.
So many districts.
I like Joanna. I've had her on the show. I truly hope she's not in my district. She's a little north of me, but I truly hope she's elected.
Well, her district is Fresno,
North Fresno.
North Fresno, and of course Madera, an amazing group there, and Merced. And I'm training walkers over there and just doing that on the weekends and just doing what we can.
Well, I know you did something because I saw Facebook pictures at the Madera Fair recently. So there's a great opportunity. All around California, we are going to have fairs. We are in the fair season. If you wanted to get involved, here's a way to go out and meet people.
Absolutely.
Sign up for a local fair. You can do that by going to your local GOP. So if this is Fresno, I would put in Fresno Republican Party. Their website would come up. It would be the same for all 58 counties. It would be the same, frankly, around the nation. You could find it with a search. You'd just find it by county, and you sign up to volunteer.
Or even in Fresno, you can go to fresnornha.org, and our website's pretty kept up, and there's a list of events. Or you can just go to rnha.org for the national, and of course RNHA California .org, and it tells you the state activities and who we're supporting. I think also last night we decided on a slate that we're going to be putting on our Fresno RNHA. Yesterday was an amazing meeting. You missed out. No, I know, but you were where you.
I had a real reason, but
no.
but-
This is not a negative thing. You needed to be where you needed to be because we couldn't be there, and you can't be everywhere. So that's amazing. We have to divide and conquer, and just check into the websites or just call a friend and say, "Where I know I want to do something. I know I want to help, but how do I do it? How?" And all you do is just start opening doors and see where it takes you. And by the way, Joanna Garcia Rose was at the Madera Fair, but I was not there. I was at the Dos Palos because we were the two fairs were at the same time.
Okay, so I got my wires crossed.
I was with Amanda Fleming.
Yes,
which,
I recognize the troublemakers.
I was in Madera.
Uña y mugre. There's a Mexican saying, uña y mugre, like when the dirt gets under your nails, it goes together. That's me and Amanda. We had a great time, and of course we strolled the fair, and we just didn't wait for people to come to our booth. We went out and gave lectures, and you get involved with conversations with people, and I think what has happened to me is something very, very interesting, and I think you're going to want to listen to it. So
well, we'll come back to that in just a minute.
Absolutely.
We're going to go ahead and take our last break. This is Eric Rollins, the Constitutionalist, here on 1550 KXEX, the best talk in town. For the final segment, and we're down to a little less than 10 minutes, I like to focus on hope and solutions. So wherever that leads us, hope and solutions for our country or for fixing local. Let's go ahead and come back. This is Eric Rollins, the Constitutionalist, here on 1550 KXCX, the best talk in town. I am speaking with somebody that is absolutely an activist, doesn't just sit on her butt, but is motivated to change local, to change our country because she's a patriot. Welcome, Maggie Cannaba.
Patriot/freedom fighter.
I like that. So you were just about to make a point, so I don't want to take that away from you.
No. I think that just hope and solutions is a good thing to think about. Hope on an emotional level, and hope in a very factual, practical. I can prove we have hope, especially when it comes to Hispanic voter base. And I always say that I can speak with authority on this because I didn't read it on the internet. I'm on the street out there all the time in a good way. And I've knocked on the doors. I talked to people of different ethnicities, but it's always about the base of the Hispanic voter base, because that is something we need to reckon with. And we don't want to be, when that tsunami comes, we don't want to be on the beach drinking a margarita. That's not what we need to do. And sometimes life isn't fair. Again, my core, what my parents showed me, the border situation was not fair, absolutely. But guess what? How can we flip this? What can we do to, bring him in, because guess what? We're waiting for him too. And so it takes a lot of work, a lot of commitment, sacrifice. I'm in a place in my life where I don't have children, so being a parent, my priority would be with my children, obviously, and so maybe my time would be minimized. But hope, I can tell you, because we, when I was with RNHA, with a group of people, we had a Cinco de Mayo booth on the corner of Whittier and Atlantic, I think, right there in East Los Angeles. And when we decided to go there as Republicans, fully dressed, and as with the Republican gear, and we thought, oh, okay, well, let's see what's going to happen. So I've been in difficult situations, so we were all prepared. And it was such an amazing surprise. People in East Los Angeles came up to me and asked, where have you been?
Mm-hmm. But that's my point about Republicans haven't done enough with outreach. We need to do things like that. Trump did something important when he went to the hood.
Right, exactly. And I that is nothing to be ignored. Trump really was a game changer. But to realistically speak, before, the demographics didn't give that indication. And so, or they just, maybe the effort just wasn't there, or they didn't know how. The desire was there, because I know my beautiful Republican sisters and brothers out there, I know that the desire was there, and they're good people, and they're patriots. They just didn't know. They thought getting an Hispanic vote was setting up a audiovisual thing and going out there and
it's talking to people.
This is how you get a Republican vote. I won't tell you what I told one of my chairs, but I said I can't do this. I said, because the party comes second. You have to sell yourself. You could have the best product, but if they're not liking you, or you're not approaching them, there's nothing there for them. Mm-hmm. But real quickly, back to the booth in East Los Angeles. Yeah, they said, where have you been? Did you think that we became, for a lot of them, most became Democrats forfeit. And so there is hope. And I can tell you, this is just a few months, a year ago. And we working with some clergy from Orange County, Pastor Martinez, that she told me in Spanish. She goes, I won't even say in Spanish, I'll just tell you what she said. She said, we've been given the information. Now we want the truth. Now we want the truth. What does that, doesn't that need to make your skin shudder? Because that doesn't put a monkey on your back. That puts the gorilla on your back. Now it's time to haul some, and you need to do that work, because now they're asking for it. Now they're open for it. I can tell you it was tough, because I was there 20 years ago, setting the booths up in Vallarta, reaching out to the Hispanic community. And the response sometimes was not pretty.
Vallarta's a supermarket?
The Vallarta, yeah, was primarily I went to, here in Fresno, I would go to First and Tulare.
I
go
just
to
I
the
just had
Southeast.
lunch there with a friend of mine. It was awesome.
They have the best watermelon drinks ever, don't they?
That
Oh, yeah,
I
they
had
do.
the
Yeah, I was there the sandia. I love it. So, but to try to do it, the mentality is different. They've been fed. The culture of media has changed. I think everybody says, "Oh, this big great awakening, the woke," and all this manipulation of the alphabet channels that certainly have not been a good thing for media and what United States is supposed to represent in terms of having professional media, but also at the same time, shows like yours. So many out there, and they're really telling the truth. You know, there's times I used to hear or watch the news in Mexico City, and they would say the things accurately, exactly. They even reported about Trump being in the demilitarized zone, which was historic, and never got reported here. They even reported that he did away with the inheritance tax. Never reported here. I mean, the list goes on, and so they were just very matter of fact about it because they didn't have a dog in the game, not immediate, and they weren't being biased. So sometimes, and then you have your BBC. I don't know how good they are now, but yeah, they depending.
they're in some ways better than U.S. media, but they're
we got to
very
pray
left.
for United Kingdom too. We've got to pray for them.
Yes, we do.
So
I had a question. So you were just at the Dos Palos Fair,
Yes.
running around with a mutual friend, and you talked about talking to people. A lot of people are intimidated. How is it that you start a conversation? Because, for instance, I know you are passionate and very much on one side with abortion, but if you started there, you're going to run a lot of people away. Where do you start?
That's not entirely true, because I tell them first I have a relationship. I know how to have an 18-second relationship. You can have a relationship just with somebody with the eyes, right? In a restaurant, you know. And I do that with voter registration, especially when they're filling out their forms. Mm-hmm. You always leave out where they have to choose their party. Have them do that last, because you've already had at least a 90-second relationship with them. And believe it or not, they can feel you. People have a God-given Holy Spirit, and they feel you, and you can't fake that kind of stuff. So, anyway, that's what you do. You approach people, and you don't go there as representing a party. You go there as representing principles. You say hello to them, and you make yourself approachable, and then you find a common ground. And of course, there's the practicals. You look around, see what they're about, and find a topic that you can focus on. That's sales training, but and then you just be sincere, and don't waver. Don't be a fakie. And I tell them, I said, give me at least, I said, now I'd say hello to them. And I say I'm full of Mexican sayings because, I worked the Mexican fairs for 10 years. And so I know all these little sayings. So I tell them, I make them comfortable. And then I let them know that I represent. Then I get serious and let them know. And I ask for the respect. When you ask a Hispanic or a Mexicano for respect, they will not deny it, and they will listen to you.
Interesting. We're down to about 30 seconds, maybe a little less. Final thoughts.
Oh my gosh, 30 seconds. I can barely breathe in 30 seconds now. My final thought would be get involved, and have faith. Don't lose hope. I can tell you, people, trust me, I'm out. This is not something off the internet. This is not something they said, because nobody really knows who they is. We have hope. We do. And it doesn't matter who the president is, because it doesn't matter. Let's not put the big monkey on Trump. It's us. We are responsible for us. And get it done.
I feel like amen is the appropriate ending to that.
Oh, we should have started with a prayer.
We should have started with a prayer.
Thank you, Eric.
Oh, thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.